But for Adelaide, the end of an era. After 10 years in the city of churches, the Grand Prix is heading for Melbourne. Tony Morabito reflects on a decade of drama.
10 years ago, it didn't seem real. Some expected Adelaide to stumble blinking into the glare of the world spotlight. Instead, it rose to standards few could match. Adelaide's first race was Niki Lauda's last. But as one triple world champion left, another arrived.
That is the pole position man, the brilliant Ayrton Senna.
At the start of Adelaide's first race, Senna's wheel-banging duel with Nigel Mansell cost him first place to Keke Rosberg. But the brash Brazilian fought back, staging a show that instantly won him a legion of Adelaide fans. The track seemed too confined a space to contain his exuberance. At one point, he punted into Rosberg's rear and lost a front wing. Again, he recovered and led the race until passed by Lauda, who was then let down by steering failure.
Niki Lauda, and off he goes! Niki Lauda's lost it!
Senna was back in front until his machinery also gave in to the harshness of that new street circuit. Victory was Rosberg's, and no one could wait until 1986. That race became the first of Adelaide's two World Championship deciders, a three-way shootout between Williams' teammates Mansell and Piquet and reigning champion Prost. The Englishman seemed to have it wrapped up until everything unravelled in a split second.
And look at that! Out that, and colossally, that's Mansell!
That put Piquet in the box seat until
Williams called Piquet in for safety. Turned out the tyre was okay, and Prost went on to become the first man since our own Sir Jack Brabham to retain the world title in successive years.
But if Mansell's blowout was a defining image in the sport's history, so was this.
Senna swimming his way through.
We endured it twice in 1989 and 91. The latter earned Adelaide a place in the record book.
1991 will live in our memories as the shortest race in Grand Prix history, declared at 14 laps instead of 81.
As the last race of the season, Adelaide's atmosphere traditionally has been two-edged.
Ayrton has a small problem. He thinks that he can't kill himself.
In the end, he makes me laugh because he's the guy that has complained so much.
Prost doesn't worry me at all in the car. But what he's able to do out of the car is shocking.
But some drivers have been stars of the non-exploding variety, like the only man to compete in every Adelaide Grand Prix. Gerhard Berger won twice, with Ferrari in 1987 and McLaren in 1992, when he finished less than a second ahead of Michael Schumacher. But that victory was overshadowed by two of those stars who loved to hate each other.
They'll both go out! Senna, Mansell was destined not to finish the Australian Grand Prix.
The man Mansell and Senna both hated, Prost, won in 1988. Berger had been knocked out by a backmarker while leading comfortably. In 1990, the same corner provided this highlight. On the last lap, Piquet leads. Mansell tries to dive ahead but fails, conceding the race to Piquet. Mansell finally tasted victory in 1994. However, the race will be remembered as Adelaide's second championship decider. Schumacher and Hill settled the issue with a crash.
If Damon's suspension had just not been bent in that accident, Damon Hill might have been world champion like his father before him.
A man who was world champion always showed why in Australia. Ayrton Senna almost owned Adelaide's pole position. The circuit was also the scene of his final victory. Senna won despite a vastly inferior car. Second, Alain Prost. And that brings us back to their Star Wars, for it was on this day, 6 months before Senna's death, that they ended. Senna publicly granted Prost's wish for a reconciliation, an unforgettable moment from men who'd once ignored each other on the podium. It only seemed possible in the special spirit of Adelaide.
And that is Sports Tonight for Sunday, the 12th of November. Thanks for joining us. A dramatic finish to Adelaide's Grand Prix history today, and that's where we'll leave you tonight. High-powered action from the city of churches. Good night.
This result has gone into the history books as the largest crowd attendance at a Formula One race since the modern World Championship was established.
I see the light in the shade of the morning sun. When one sun is struck, that brings me near to the child I lost.
Wonderful, look at that. Thank you, Adelaide. That's the mechanics, by the way, of Schumacher's car.
That my life would depend on.
And Damon Hill wins the Australian Grand Prix, the grand finale at Adelaide.